I'd like to welcome everybody to October's Lunch and Learn. Shaun Kell is our speaker today, and hopefully many of you will remember him from his days at Mercer when he was with the CAPS program here on campus. I see a couple of people, hey Shaun! So when he was here at Mercer, and Shaun contacted me a couple months ago and said, hey, I have this really great idea for a lunch and learn topic. And it's something that I feel really strongly about and really struggle with in my own personal life and my own wellness, which is how do we define what is good enough? Whether that's, and we were just chatting about this, how do we figure out what's enough money, what's enough time, what's enough, free time, enough exercise, whatever is enough for you. And one of the things that wellness we think of, but we don't often spend enough time focusing on, is our mental wellness or our mental health. A lot of the statistics say that between 60 and 90% of all physicians' visits are related to stress. And so that's sometimes, we talk in wellness about manage your stress, find things to help you deal with those things, but how do we really put that into action? And so Shaun's going to be talking about some of those key concepts, and hopefully we can all leave here with some actionable ideas so we can be more mentally well. So Shaun is in private practice now, and he's got cards over here, and I feel confident he'd be willing to answer questions at the end. So I will leave it to him. Please help me welcome Shaun.
When I worked over at CAPS, we had the whole MEP parking lot, so I never really had trouble finding a place to park. But today I decided, the only place I could find was on the yellow curb, but I left my flashers on, so I'm sure it'll be fine. It should be fun. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You go to pick up your child from school, and that mom is there waiting for you, the perfect mom, the one whose hair is always perfect and who has the body you wish you had, and the kids always look perfect, and she seems to have the perfect life, and she's also at school all the time. And so she says, so we're doing a bake sale, and we're going to raise money for Jay's Hope. And she starts in on telling you about the cookies that she's going to make. She's only going to make 6 dozen this year, and but she's going to use her grandmother's secret recipe, and it should only take half a day, because there are only 27 ingredients and 50 steps. And you start to feel that little twinge inside, that little feeling in the pit of your stomach of, I don't have time for this. And then she says, what do you want to sign up to make? Oh, you don't have time to make anything. Why don't you just pick something up from the grocery store? And you just feel slimed, Because there are always people out there who will make you feel not good enough. Or how about this? You go out with friends, and everybody's talking about work, and they're talking about the new thing, or the project, or the promotion, or the new employees they've been able to hire, and it sort of sounds like they're complaining about how busy they are, but you really know that they're bragging about how important they are. And all you can think about is the memo you got last week about the budget's been cut another 15%. And you don't know if that means your job lasts until next year or not, or whether it means no pay raise again this year, or whether it maybe means a layoff or a furlough. But you can't say that because you can't face the pity would be in their faces. Because there are always going to be situations that make us feel not good enough. Or you go to a meeting with the boss, and the boss has got this great new idea, and she's very excited about this project, and she needs volunteers to take it on, and your first thought is, I am already busier than I need to be, and I can't get it all done now. But you also have this second thought that says, you're always the one who signs up. So inevitably, when she makes eye contact and asks for volunteers, you say, okay, you'll take it on. And then you leave things undone, and you carve out 4 hours or 6 hours in your busy week to spend time on this new project, and at the next staff meeting, everyone seems to have forgotten about it. and you're the only one, but the boss doesn't hesitate to tell you that she's noticed that the stuff in your area of responsibility has not been done. Because there are always people at work and settings at work that will make you feel not good enough. I recently heard this one-liner that I think sort of sums it up for a lot of us. It goes like this: the first thought we have when we wake up in the morning is, I didn't get enough sleep. And the last thought we think as our heads hit the pillows at night is, I didn't get enough done. And we all know that's no way to live, but it's really hard to find our way out. So what I thought we would talk about today is, what are the kinds of things that keep us in not enough, keep us feeling inadequate and shamed and vulnerable and not good enough? And then maybe talk for the second half about what are some things that we can do to make a change, to step into good enough. I say cultivate good enough, because it's not as easy as just deciding to. So first we'll talk about scarcity out there, the ways that systems and relationships and culture makes us feel not good enough. And then I thought we'd talk about scarcity inside, the ways that we think and talk to ourselves that sustain this feeling of not good enough. And then, how do we cultivate good enough? How do we move in a direction that is really countercultural? But I think really the way to a richer and happier life. So first, how many of you have seen this in action? So is do more with less still the mantra everywhere that you hear about? We're all doing more with less. It's this culture that says that it's like even possible to do that. I mean, I'm no physicist, but it seems to me that if you want to do more, you need more. But we're all being asked to do more with less. And what that really means is work more for free after 5 o'clock. Or go home at 5 o'clock and not be the good employee. How about this one? Exhaustion is a status symbol. Think about this. What would happen if you went out with your friends, or you talked to the other moms in the play group, or you went on your sort of weekly or monthly or quarterly golf outing with your buddies, and you said, life's pretty good. I get enough rest. I play with the children. I turned down a promotion because I just didn't want the extra responsibility. Like, you wouldn't be able to get out of there without a knife in your back. Because exhaustion is how we do life, most of us. So these are hallmarks of scarce systems, whether it's the work system or the cultural system or just our system of friends and relationships. Another hallmark of systems of scarcity is that there's this persistent, pervasive comparison, competition, and control. So you're always feeling like somebody, or if not somebody outside your own head, then you yourself are always wondering, what's the other person doing? What's that person that slimes me every time I go to the pickup line at school? What's she doing? What would she do? Or competition is a way of orienting toward the world where one person always loses and one person always wins. It's always one up and one down. There's no such thing as collaboration. There's no such thing as win-win. Or there are these colleagues that you know are out there that you can't trust them to work with them, because if it fails, whatever it is, then they're going to throw you under the bus. That's another hallmark of a scarcity system. There's just not enough to go around. There's not enough good, there's not enough work, there's not enough well-being to go around. And these make us try to control. The people who used to work with me in CAPS aren't here, but they would tell you that I would, about every 6 months, I kind of get on a productivity kick where I try to start over, and I get a new calendar, or I get a new calendar app on my phone, or whatever. And I'm always trying to, I got this myth inside my mind that says if I could just schedule it well enough, I could control it and I wouldn't feel so stressed out all the time. Or you always find yourself rushing the children to get out the door to go to school or to church or wherever it is we got to go. There's always this agenda, and you feel like all you ever get to do is yell at them because they're behind, or it's bedtime, or it's bath time. Or with your spouse, you know, at the end of the day, when you sit down to connect, really all you want to do is not feel all the stress, so you just turn on the TV and numb out. Or you have that extra couple of glasses of wine because you can't control it, so you just want to ignore it. These are hallmarks of living in systems that are scarce. There are scarcity out there, and there's also scarcity inside. We've all thought this kind of thing before, and this is certainly not an exhaustive list. Something happens, and you feel that sort of warm wash of inadequacy come over you, and the first thought is, I can't stay in this. I can't do this. This is horrible. This is awful. I'm not going to be able to whatever. And you just feel more and more and more afraid, more and more anxious. Or the same thing happens to a different group of us, and the first thing you think is, that's not fair, or that person shouldn't be doing this to me. And you just feel angry. Are we still on the right slide? That's good. Or when you're in the carpool line and you're talking to that mom, it's awfully hard not to think, you know, her kids have got it so good. They're so lucky to have a mom like that, and my poor children. It's just that I'm just not a very good mother. Or you can't ask for something good from a spouse or from a colleague or from a boss because there's this little voice inside that says, who do I think I am to ask for that? These are the voices inside that keep us in shame, not deserving, not good enough. And there's this other voice that says, I may as well just quit. This is the resignation, the detaching voice. It's not going to change anything. Nothing's going to get better. So just quit. Just detach. Just get numb. Whatever we do to numb, because we're all of us are tempted to numb in all kinds of ways. It's not just substances that we use. It could be TV, or it could be, anything. And the most pernicious kind of numbing is the kind of numbing that we say is good for us. So we can numb by taking hours and hours of, fun time, or whatever it might be. The difference is you always feel guilty after you've been numb for a while. So there's scarcity out there, and there's scarcity in here. So what's the way forward? How do we get out? It's like I said, I think cultivating is the best metaphor, because cultivating is a gardening metaphor. And those of us, of you, who are gardeners, know that when you're cultivating a new plant, you have to till up the ground. You've got to plant the seed, and you've got to thin the weeds, and you've got to mulch, and you've got to thin the sprouts when they come up and prune the plants, and then you get some kind of harvest, and then you let the plants die, and you till them under, or you compost them, and you start it over again. And so next year the soil's just a bit richer. And that's just the same as this. Anytime we decide we're going to step out of scarcity and into abundance, into enough, it's a long process, and it takes a lot of work. These, I think, are the three major movements to cultivating good enough. The first one is letting go. Beginning to see that the scarcity system and the scarcity voices inside are not telling you the truth about the world. So you detach from that. You step out. You decide you're going to live in this different way. And that's tough, because it feels like a loss. It feels like a risk. And it feels like you might get in trouble. So letting go is kind of the first movement. The second movement is even tougher, because you have to step toward the difficulty and the pain and the stress and the shame and embrace it as important information about the world that you're living in. So the only way out of difficult emotions is through them. There's no avoiding hardship. There's no avoiding loss. There's no avoiding the chaos in life. And so the way to be ready when that stuff comes is to step toward it and maybe through it in the ways that we create it for ourselves. So running away from difficult emotions is no way to ever meet abundance. The way to get to abundance is to step toward difficult things. And the third is making space. And I know you're all thinking, I don't have any space in my life. So this is why it's so important to let go and to move toward difficulty. And then we make space for practices of being kinder to ourselves. The great traditions, the Judeo-Christian tradition, and Islam too, there's a verse in what the Christians call the Old Testament or the Jews call the Torah that says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. We think of this as kind of this really important thing. And the corollary to that is you can only love your neighbor as well as you love yourself. Whether it's the neighbor that you birthed into this world or the neighbor that you married or the neighbor across the globe. So if we cannot cultivate compassion for ourselves, then in our stressed moments, in our worst moments, we are going to discharge that onto the weaker person. We've all done it. Everybody's done it. And so we must make space for self-compassion, for kindness to us. So how do you do that? I recommend, of course, 3 practices. And practice is another intentional word choice. Because we practice, we must do this repetitively. It's like Aristotle said, we are what we do repeatedly. And so these are practices. These are things to do regularly. And it's also practice because it never gets perfect. We never get completely accomplished at it. This is the work of the rest of our lives. One of the people I've been reading a whole lot lately is a guy named Richard Rohr, and he says this is the work of our entire second half of life. Okay, so the first one, and I borrowed all 3 of these, and there are links on the next slide to the web links, and if you want to, I'll share this Prezi so you can look at it and download it if you'd like. The first one is from a Zen teacher named Sylvia Boorstein, who I heard on NPR's On Being, which is a wonderful, wonderful show if you're a radio nerd like me. It goes like this. Whenever I feel pain or resentment or anger or fear or shame or foreboding rising up in me, I say this to myself, and I actually use these words. She says, "Sweetheart, you're in pain." I'm from the South, and sweetheart sounds kind of condescending to me, so I say, buddy, this really hurts. And the attitude is to cultivate is just like you would say this to a beloved friend or child or a pet that you care deeply for. Buddy, this really hurts. Relax. Take a breath. Pay attention to what's happening. And then we'll figure out what to do. So those are the steps. Sweetheart, buddy, this really hurts. Relax, which is a reminder that being relaxed is a choice. It's not that we can conjure it up, but we can choose not to react. The opposite of compassion isn't anger. The opposite of compassion is reaction. And so if we can relax, remind ourselves to relax, then we can make choices that come out of our better selves. Relax. Take a breath. I've been listening to a lot of Brené Brown recently. Have y'all seen or heard her TED Talks? You got to watch them. She's fantastic. Brené Brown says, people who are calm are really annoying breathers because it looks like this. I need a minute. Okay, what's happening? Sometimes it takes a minute, sometimes it takes a day. So breathe. And there's all kinds of great science about how this is physiologically changes the way our brains are functioning in the moment if we can cultivate the capacity to breathe. So buddy, this hurts. Relax, breathe, pay attention to what's happening. And that's both the scarcity out there that's activating this and the scarcity in here that's activating this. What is happening around me that has got me feeling this way? So what are the internal scripts? Is there a shame script going like I'm not good enough? Or is there an anger script like this isn't fair? Is there a fear script like I can't handle this or this is awful? So pay attention to the inner emotion and give it a name. I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling pain. I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling shame. And just name that. And maybe there's an external scarcity going on too that says something like you aren't good enough, or you have to give more, or something that is actually happening to you, or a person is maybe trying to shame you or shaming you inadvertently. And you can label that too. This person is pushing a button for me, whatever it might be. And as a result, I feel. So give those names to things. So those 3 steps: relax, take a breath, pay attention to what's happening. The Buddhists call this mindfulness. Well, the English-speaking Buddhists call this mindfulness, to cultivate a non-judgmental awareness of what's happening right now. Okay, so sweetheart, you're in pain. Relax, take a breath, pay attention to what's happening, and then we'll figure out what to do. And once you're in that space, like I said, I hope that if we can cultivate this as a practice, then we can act more out of our best selves. Maybe more often. Okay, second practice, no. So much of our stress and not feeling enough, not having enough time is just saying yes to too many things. Too many good things most of the time. Too many things that we want or are positive for us. And so, cultivating the capacity to say no. Brené Brown, this is her boundary mantra. Choose discomfort over resentment. Choose discomfort over resentment. Because in the moment, when you're being asked to do something, to bake the cookies or to take on the project or whatever it might be, it's easy to say, yeah, sure, I can do that. A lot of us have a script that says, I'm the good kid, or I'm the one who pleases people, or I'm the one who always makes the grown-ups happy. And so I just say yes automatically. It's my automatic script. Okay, I'll do it. So it's uncomfortable to look another person in the face and say, no, I just can't do it. Or I won't do it. Or that doesn't work for me, it's not a good day for me. Or, you know, that project you're talking about, boss person, sounds interesting, but I've really got a full plate right now. Can you help me take something else off that plate so that I can focus on your new project? Which is a way of saying no, unless we readjust. And so that's uncomfortable, that's difficult, that feels risky, and it may be. But here's what happens. The people who get mad at you are the people who are benefiting most from you saying yes all the time. And it may very well be that if those people leave you, they were only your friends because you were saying yes all the time. And the people who stick it out with you are the people who love you no matter what. And that's a great thing to know about a relationship, that it can sustain no. And so learning to say no. Do you choose discomfort over resentment? Because what happens when we take on too much? A day later or a week later or whatever, or however long it is, and you're too busy, you're at work at 7 o'clock at night and the whole office is empty, and you're going, those people never pull their weight. Or you're baking the cookies, and the kid comes in and says, Mommy, look, and you're like, stop talking! I'm baking cookies for your damn school! So, I borrowed that joke from Brené Brown, I should cite it. So, choose discomfort in the short term to avoid resentment in the long term. Learn to say no. the last one is a self-compassion meditation. And those of you, I don't remember, those of you who have ever listened to me talk about health and wellness and mental health before probably came in here expecting that I was going to lead us in a relaxation exercise. So this is when we do that. This is a self-compassion meditation. I got it, this version of it, from a guy named Christopher Germer, whose website is there. But it's really an ancient practice. I think it comes out of the Zen tradition. I know there's a version of it in the Tibetan Buddhist stream. But you don't have to be a Buddhist to do this. In fact, I think I know there's a very broad stream of compassion meditation within the Christian tradition and within the Muslim tradition and in the Jewish tradition. I don't know that much about the Hindu tradition, but I know that, as far as I can tell, every broad religious tradition has a contemplative practice that looks something like this. So, whether you're a God person or not a God person, or whether you're a God person of a particular type, this is a friendly thing. So, but nonetheless, if you're not comfortable with it, please don't feel like you have to participate. Just don't disturb the rest of us by dancing or singing or anything. Okay, so what we'll do is get comfortable in your chair. I'm moving this so I could have my pad lay flat. I like to have both feet on the floor, my hands kind of in a comfortable spot, either in my lap or someplace clasped gently together, or just touching like this. Some people just touch their fingertips here, one on each hand, and let them kind of relax in the hands. Just to start with, and take a few deep breaths to settle into your body and into this present moment. And when you feel comfortable, or if you feel comfortable, close your eyes, fully or partially. And just notice your breathing, wherever it feels most prominent, whether it's your nostrils or the back of your throat or in your stomach or in your lungs. Just notice your breathing in and out. And often as you give attention to your breath, you notice that it slows perceptibly, and that's okay. Now, put a hand or both hands over your heart to remind yourself that you're bringing attention and loving attention to your current experience. So feel the warmth or coolness of your hands and the gentle pressure. And just feel how your chest rises and falls with every breath, in and out. Now, after another couple of breaths, bring to mind a person or other living being who naturally makes you smile. This could be a child, or your grandmother, or your pet, or a good friend. Any person who naturally makes you smile. And let yourself remember and feel what it's like to be in that person's presence. And it's fine to allow your face to smile as well. Now allow yourself to realize how vulnerable this loved one is, just like you, just like all of us, subject to sickness, aging, and the chaos in life. And also this being wishes to be happy and free from suffering, just like every creature. And as you feel the weight of that fragility and the hope of that wish to be well and free from suffering, just repeat to yourself softly and gently, may you be safe. May you be peaceful. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. May you accept yourself as you are. And perhaps with each breath, repeat a phrase. May you be safe. May you be peaceful. May you live with ease. May you be healthy. May you accept yourself just as you are. If your mind wanders, just return to the image of that loved one and to the words, wishing that person well and safety and peace and ease and acceptance. And savor any warm feelings that you may have. May you be safe. May you be peaceful. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. May you accept yourself just as you are. Now add yourself to your circle of goodwill and wish. Feel the pressure of your hands and repeat to yourself, may you and I be safe. May you and I be peaceful. May you and I be healthy. May you and I live with ease. May you and I accept ourselves as we are. Spend a few breaths wishing yourself and this loved one well. May we be safe. May we be peaceful. May we be healthy. May we live with ease. May we accept ourselves as we are. As you give this gift of kindness to yourself and your loved one, visualize your whole body in your mind's eye. And notice if there's any stress or uneasiness that may be lingering inside you, and offer yourself kindness. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. May I accept myself as I am. You may notice that one or more of these is hard to say just to yourself. Nonetheless, it's okay to wish or ask, may I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. May I accept myself just as I am. As you continue to breathe and sit quietly with your own body, savor the goodwill and compassion that flows naturally from your heart. Know that you can return to these phrases anytime you wish. Once more, repeat to yourself, may I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. May I accept myself just as I am. And then after a few more breaths, return your attention to this present moment, this room, this space. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Well, thank you. And one of the reasons I do that last is because nobody ever wants to talk after that's over. So I usually get off with very few questions. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. It's about 10 till, so if you've got to walk back to the office, now's a good time to do that. This is my limited bibliography. Brene Brown's latest book is Daring Greatly. It's wonderful. You can also buy a 5-hour lecture series from her on Sounds True, which is really good. She's a really brilliant speaker. The TED Talks are free. They're on TED.com. They're also on her website. One is called The Power of Vulnerability, and the other is called, I think, Embracing Shame, or The Gifts of Imperfection, or something like that, sort of provocative. Christopher Germer's website is mindfulselfcompassion.org. You can download an MP3 of the meditation we just did and some others about self-compassion meditation. The person that I think talks the most accessibly about the inner scripts that cause us discomfort is a guy named Albert Ellis. His book, A Guide to Rational Living, is pretty good. He's kind of cranky. He tends to argue with people. I tend to want to be a little more compassionate. But his work on identifying what those triggers are by yourself is pretty good. The other option, of course, is to see a therapist, which I believe in, too. And this is Sylvia Borstein's The On Being podcast that I mentioned, number 242. She has some wonderful stuff on her website, too, sylviaborstein.com. And that's what I got. Thank you. Are there questions? Oh, good. Well, thank you. It's been good.